Hey everybody, this is Jeff at Flatwoods Kennels and Training, back with another video and another puppy. Today we've got Boykin Spaniel with one of the coolest names we've ever had on one. Meet Dude. Dude is here to start his puppy imprinting program. He has been with us for a week now and showing all the signs we want to see out of a good puppy. And why we wanted to do this video as well is to talk about picking a solid puppy. And just training tips on before they go to a trainer. Dude's owners reached out to us pretty much right after they got him and just wanted some tips on what to do and what not to do before coming in. And I'll be honest with you, 90% of the time we get those questions and we tell people what to do and then they don't do it, and we have to discuss issues that the dog is having in training. Dude's folks were different. They were the 1 out of 10 that listened and did it right, and it's already paying off. Dude came in and he settled in day one. He was already swimming in the pond with everybody else on day one and just hasn't barked at all in his kennel since he's been here. Just a really solid puppy so far, super intelligent. And that's what brings us to the next point of picking the puppies down the road. We're getting into the fall. I know it doesn't feel like it. We are, as you can tell, finding the little bit of shade we can find in the mornings to get our training sessions done. The fall is coming, and naturally the holidays come right behind it, so everybody starts looking at getting a puppy. And one of the things we cringe at hearing is my kids want a puppy or this, that, and the other. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I want to stress that these gun dogs are not Christmas presents. They're not. A lot of times people rush. Breeders know, some breeders know, that you're going to be, wanting to get it for the kids or something like that, and they're not going to be as truthful with you on stuff. So do your homework. Really do your homework on picking a dog. Picking the right dog will save you a lot of money in the long run in training and heartache. So Dude here come from some really, really good field trial stock, and it's evident. He's very birdy. He's already been in the bird pen. He's already chasing birds. He marks good. This is day one, just literally 30 seconds before we started the video. Missy pulled the place board out and has started working him on place. He's got an e-collar on. For somebody scolds me for putting an e-collar on a puppy, the only thing he is getting is a tone right now. We are working tone recall, and that is it. Because when we start putting a bumper in his mouth, we don't want him to drop it when he hears the tone. So we want him to be tone broke to where it's just a tap on the shoulder and a attention getter. Way before we start putting any kind of e-collar pressure on him, we're doing a tone break, and that's it. But yeah, back to picking the solid dogs. Boykins are probably one of the hardest ones to deal with, because there's so many people out here that they're not being picky. They're not breeding the standard. You want to know the standard, you go to BSS, you go to the Boykin Spaniel Society. I wouldn't even say go to AKC standard, because AKC standard is a little off, and there's tiffs back and forth between BSS and AKC. And BSS definitely holds the standard on what they want these dogs to look like and what they want to see getting bred, into their lines and into the club. It's not to be snobby. It's just that, certain builds you look for, and we give you some advice here on what to look for on these Boykins. One is structure. So Boykins are prone to some hip issues, regardless of what people say. There have been dogs with some IVDD issues, and so we look for overall structure. And for us, on overall structure, we start with the front feet. Boykin Spaniels have a tendency of throwing what we call seal feet, and that is where the front feet kind of kick out left and right, kind of look like flippers in a way. Not really the best structure, but as you can see, boy here, he's got straight legs. He's got a straight back end. Another thing is we look for rolling on the back legs. If they are a lazy sit, or they tuck their leg under and kind of roll that back end, as you can tell, Dude here has got a perfect little squared off sit when he sits. He's got a perfect little squared off sit. That's what we want to see, is a dog that can square off. Just because a dog doesn't square off doesn't automatically mean there's going to be a hip issue or a pelvis issue down the road, but it usually, in what we've seen, there's a higher risk of it. So you want to look for things like that. Another thing in these Boykins are underbites. That is where the, I shouldn't have to tell, but I'll explain it anyway. That is where the bottom jaw comes out forward, almost like a bulldog look. That is not BSS standard. And when you start to really breed in things, underbites and, palate issues or anything like that, you're starting to teeter on the line of some issues that could come up down the road with some puppies, possibly with, it makes it tougher on them in the water when they're holding the bumper and they're coming through the water and that water's rushing in their mouth. Structure makes a huge difference. And, there's nothing wrong with being picky at all. And coat as well is something we look for. The Boykin Spaniel is allowed to have a tiny bit of white. I think it's got to be no bigger than a penny or a quarter. I cannot remember. That's all they're allowed to have. They cannot have white anywhere else. I know there is some controversy out there on a AKC registered dog that got bred, continues to be bred, and AKC let him register, and he has a lot of white. BSS would not let him register, and AKC did. So I go back to the tiffs between the two. We triple register our dogs. We want AKC, UKC, and BSS. However, if you are picking a puppy out, and it's a Boykin Spaniel, and they tell you they don't have them triple registered, that's not 100% a deal breaker, as long as they are at least BSS registered. The only caution to that, there are no BSS trials in this area. If you want to get into BSS trials or hunt tests, there's none in this area. And you may say, I don't care. We hear that all the time. And, I'm never going to trial this dog or hunt or do anything but hunt this dog. And that's fine. If you wind up with a really good dog, though, and you want to breed it, you get some breeders are like us. Typically, we will not pull a stud or we will not do any kind of breed over fee or services with a dog that's not triple registered, because sometimes they can be harder to sell down here because they're not triple registered. Their UKC events are in Georgia, AKC events are in Georgia, and BSS, you're going to the Carolinas or further up into North Georgia to get anything done. So you're 5-6 hours away from any kind of trial. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at that. Registries like CKC and PKC, that means absolutely squat to us in this world. Your big three that you really want to look for, if you're going to pay quality money, if you're going to pay top dollar, and I'm talking anywhere from $1,800 to $3,500 for a puppy, it better have the three big names on it, or it better at least have UKC and BSS, because you will have some that'll have the double, and that's fine. But if you're going to pay top dollar, do not let these breeders talk you into, $1,800 to $2,000, and all they've got is a CKC registry or a PKC registry or something like that. You can take a shelter dog and get one of those registries. I can't remember which one it is. So you want the big three at least if you're going to spend that kind of money. So right here is what Dude did before he came to us. His folks listened very well on. Is they separated a little bit from him. They didn't soften him up. He didn't spend all the time in their lap and in their bed. He got kennel trained, and he's learned to self-soothe. He's an independent dog already at 3 months old, 3.5 months old. He's already an independent dog that can do with or without you. That's what you want in a working dog environment, period. I don't care if it's service, therapy, or hunting dog. You want a dog that can self-soothe, that doesn't have to be up under you 24/7, and it goes a long, long way in your training when all we have to do is come in and do this. We don't have to try to, get all of that baby out of them when they come in the door ready to go. Oh, we got a butterfly. And then that is a good sign right there. He chases everything that flies. So at a young age. This was just a quick ramble. But if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to us. When you're picking your puppy this season, reach out to us. We know a lot of breeders in the Boykin world, the GSP world, English Cockers. We know pretty much who we can tell you to go to and who to avoid in pretty much all three of those breeds. You're kind of on your own with labs. We train a lot of labs, but we're not as familiar with a lot of the bloodlines and labs. I'll be honest with you, but I can connect you with people who do know know the bloodlines and can help you find a jam up lab. But if you ever get on the phone with a breeder and you're not liking what you're seeing, just reach out to us. We don't have a problem. We'll call them for you, because we know the questions to ask, and can promise you they'll either admit that they were about to hose you over, or they'll just give you a dog to get us away from them. Because we won't want anybody to have a bad experience. We want you to have a good time doing what we love doing, and that is enjoying these dogs and letting them fulfill their purpose. So thank y'all for watching, and we'll be back with more videos.